Radio station. Your life, your music. KLEK 102.5 FM.
Good Monday morning, Jonesboro. This is meteorologist Tim Root with your KLEK 102.5 forecast. It'll be partly to mostly sunny today. High temperatures around 52. A northwest wind 5 to 10. Light winds tonight. Temperatures by morning 32 to 38. Partly cloudy skies. There's a chance of showers late in the day Tuesday into Tuesday night. Partly to mostly cloudy. The high Tuesday around 45, and it'll be about 35 Tuesday night. This weather front will continue some showers in the morning Wednesday, then partial clearing in the afternoon. The high Wednesday around 45. Jonesboro, that's your KLEK 102.5 FM weather.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Kobe Bryant's been remembered at the Grammys in LA after he died in a helicopter crash. 81 people are now known to have been killed in China by the coronavirus. World leaders have been joining Holocaust survivors at the site of the Auschwitz concentration camp to mark the 75th anniversary of its liberation. And Ireland's leader Leo Varadkar says the European Union will have the upper hand in upcoming trade talks with the UK.
It's 9:01.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday to you. I hope that you're having a great start to your day. You're tuning in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host, Quabila Jones, and my special guest today is Representative Brandt Smith, representative of District 58, Arkansas, state representative of District 58. Good morning to you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Quabila. Thank you for having me today.
Well, we appreciate you giving us your time. I know this is a busy time for you and all the other candidates that are running for the various positions. So we're going to go ahead and get right into the discussion. But first, please let people know how long you have been in your position, and then we'll go ahead and get into some of the bills and other issues you have sponsored. Okay. Let people know what you have done since you've been in office, and then we get into the candidacy aspect of it.
Well, first of all, I was elected to the first term in November 2014 and began serving in 2015. So I'm a third-term legislator.
Okay.
And during that time, I've had two races where I either challenged or was opposed, and we prevailed. The last general election, I was unopposed, so basically people say, well, you got to pass.
Okay.
This time it's a little different because of Mr. Yarborough running, and I told him at Ducks Unlimited a few weeks ago, I said, well, you know what, I respect anybody that wants to serve in the legislature, but I wished you'd have chosen a different race, But we're running, in the primary, which will be early voting February 17th, okay. And main election day March 3rd. And I'm currently the House Majority Whip, so that added a lot of responsibility to my load down in Little Rock. I spend probably 2 to 3 days a week driving back and forth.
Oh my goodness.
So there's a lot of moving parts as a legislator.
Okay. And I definitely want to get into that so that people understand what the job entails, what you are responsible for, and what decisions you are making for the people of the district and also Arkansas. Now, let me ask this. Okay. Even though you reside and represent a particular district, tell people how the decisions you make affect Arkansas as a whole.
Well, it's a collaborative effort. While I do specifically seek to represent the opinions of those voters who supported me in my campaigns for election down in Little Rock, District 58. We've got a great community, a lot of traditional values, Arkansans here. But once a person is elected to the State House, we find ourselves in a caucus, a Republican caucus, made up of about 74, maybe 75. We've had 2 or 3 drop out in the last year. But we meet every week, and we have members discuss their bills publicly, not publicly, but in a closed caucus luncheon. And then as House Majority Whip, I would meet with a team of our Republican legislators every evening from approximately 8 o'clock till 10 or 10:30 at night.
Oh, wow.
To review bills that were either going to committee the next day or on the House floor. And so some of those bills, while they may not directly impact District 58, they do impact the state of Arkansas as a whole.
Okay.
And so we do work in a collaborative fashion.
Okay. All right. Wow, it's amazing to hear that you all work so late at night. I was like,
well, and I told you I'm also a faculty member
okay.
on an online university, Liberty University, at this point, and so I may get back to my room and work till 1 or 2 a.m. and then roll out the next morning at 6, ready to hit the ground running again. So
oh my goodness,
it's a fast-paced, long days, short nights activity when we're in session.
Late nights, early mornings.
That's it.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get into some of the, I don't know if you call them bills or items that you have supported or sponsored or voted one way or another on, and then discuss those issues.
Well, I brought some of that legislation with me today, and I can honestly tell you that not every bill that I've sponsored or pushed to my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, not all of them get out of committee.
Okay.
Because when a bill is presented, they have to go through specific committees, and typically, because the Republicans are in the majority, we have 15 Republicans on a committee and 10 Democrats on a committee, and so we need to, it's about communication, it's about influence, and sometimes even as House Majority Whip, I couldn't get support from my own party, and I felt like some of my Democrat friends felt sorry for me. It's like, Smith, you're the House Majority Whip, and you couldn't win over a couple of your Republicans. And I said, you know what? It must not have been a bill that was well written or understandable. So when a bill is not understood, you don't get the votes.
Okay.
But you do have an opportunity to bring it back with amendments and take it before that same committee at least 2 times. And but here's one of the bills that I'm really proud of. It was House Bill 1145, but it became an act, and I can't recall what the act number is. People could look that up, but it was an act to create the Teacher Salary Enhancement Act, to declare an emergency and for other purposes. And when a bill has that phrase, to declare an emergency, once that bill gets through either the Senate and comes to the House, or from the House back to the Senate, and it passes with that phrase and an emergency, to declare an emergency, it's instantaneous.
Okay.
When a legislator leaves that phrase off, I think it takes 90 days to kick in. So that phrase is very important when pushing some legislation. One that you're probably familiar with, Senator Gary Stubblefield and I worked on the act to prohibit municipal sanctuary policies and for other purposes. My name does not appear on it as a co-sponsor, but I did carry it on the House side for the senator, and it passed overwhelmingly out of the House and Senate, and the governor signed that one into law.
Can you explain that one a little more?
All right. Well, I think it is maybe 7 pages long.
Okay.
Or no, not that long. But here's the bottom line is, if because we are trying to tighten up on our borders down along the Mexico-U.S. border, illegals coming across. Some cities around the United States have initiated sanctuary policies.
Okay.
And so when they do that, they really prevent some of our federal agencies from rounding up criminal elements within those communities. And there's not a lot of cooperation. It's kind of like a safe space, but they're still committing crimes across the border. And we felt like it wasn't as much an immigration issue for Arkansas as it was if you're going to set up a sanctuary city policy in your community, you're going to lose state funding for all of your projects.
Okay.
And so it was a preemptive measure to prevent illegal criminals from safe havens across the state. And that was very popular not only in the House but in the Senate. And there was some pushback from the opposition party on it, where they tried to block it in committee. They did block it one day, but we brought it back the next, and it passed. And that was based over a fiscal impact statement.
Okay.
And BLR presented a fiscal impact statement to us and said there's no fiscal impact to the state. As a matter of fact, if like Little Rock was looking at doing this, and if they had done it, the state would have saved a lot of money. And so the parliamentarian, the Speaker of the House, everybody got involved. We had to delay a vote for a few minutes, and the ruling was in favor of the bill, and so it passed overwhelmingly.
Well, let me ask you this, and this may be a discussion definitely for a whole other day, but just to put it out there. Mm-hmm. I do understand the need to protect our borders. I am not saying open our borders. However, I know people personally that have come over years ago through the right channels, and they're trying to become legalized citizens, but there's so many hoops to jump through. There's paperwork, there's finances attached to it, there's a lot of stipulations. They go through a lot.
Sure.
And it gets delayed, you know. So just for the state of Arkansas, is there anything that can be done? And again, we could discuss this in more detail at a later time, but is there anything that can be done to help those individuals who are trying to do things the right way?
Well, there is a lot of help already set up for people that have come across legally. And that process starts in their home country. But it's some of the illegals that come across that they've got to get in line. And so I've helped several foreign nationals reach our country legally, and they're working through citizenship, and several of the families that I've sponsored or served as guarantor for, they have recently received their citizenship. And but I knew them.
Okay.
I had worked with them for years overseas, and I think you can't just rush a border and spill into our country and then take off to the four winds without going through the process. And even people here that want to buy a house have miles of, or multitudes of pieces of paper they've got to put their signature on. They got to do it right if they want to buy a house.
Yes.
Same thing for our immigrants that want to come here. And when they do it right, it still takes time. But if they follow the rules, they get their citizenship eventually, or at first their green card or their work permit. And I lean toward rule of law and have no problem with those people wanting to be U.S. citizens. I just feel blessed. I was born here, but I've had legal residency in several countries overseas, and even as just seeking residency, a permit to live in a foreign country, I was considered an alien,
Okay.
and so it has to be done right.
understand that.
Yeah.
And again, we could discuss this again at another time, because I mean, there's so many other moving parts, and not just that issue, but so many other issues that are concerning Arkansas.
Right.
But we're going to move on, because I want to make sure to get as many items in as possible.
Okay.
But I have to pause and give this disclaimer. I didn't give it at the beginning. I apologize. Kelly K does not support, endorse, or oppose any candidate. This interview is provided for informational purposes only. So we want to just let everyone know that we are providing this platform for you to tell us your views and what you stand on and what you're running for this re-election period, during this election period. So we just want to let everybody know we don't support or endorse. We're not opposed. We're just, what do you call it? Bipartisan? No. Nonpartisan?
Yeah, you can be nonpartisan.
Yes. We're neutral in this. So
right.
We're just providing for information only. Sure. So, okay, now we can proceed. I'm sorry, with the next item that
okay.
you want to share that you have sponsored.
Well, I'm getting up in years. I'll be 61 on my next birthday, so I need my readers.
Okay.
I'm really proud of a bill that I co-sponsored with several of my colleagues. It was House Bill 1439, and that bill was an act to create the Cherish Act, to prohibit abortions after 18 weeks gestation except in a medical emergency and for other purposes.
Okay.
And so I'm very pro-life. My voting record demonstrates that. I believe in the sanctity of life, and have, from day one, running in 2014, have been outspoken in my support of pro-life measures, and have now gone to Little Rock 3 terms and proven that and demonstrated that several times in the House when votes came up.
I do want to let people know that there's a website if you want to look at all of the legislation that's either been passed, voted on, still in progress. Go to arcleg.state.ar.us, and you can type in any House bill, or is there a Senate bill? Would there be HB or SV or?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they can look things up, but this is my voting record down there. And if they go to, I believe it's the top left side, search legislators, they can go and find me there.
Okay.
And pull up my voting record, and it shows all the committees I'm on, and those I vice chair or where I'm ex officio member. But and then below that, it will mention all the primary legislation that I've sponsored or co-sponsored in the last general session.
Okay, so, and this goes for all of the individuals that are currently in position. You can look up their record. I know that we have some other candidates on next week. Senator Cooper and Sullivan and some others will be on. Jack Ladyman will be on. So anyone that's coming on, you can look up their record, and for those that are candidates, look up their website and their Facebook page, their candidacy Facebook pages, and get to know more about them. We encourage everyone get to know who's running for what position, so that you can be an informed voter when you step into the booth, either early voting February 17th or regular early voting. I mean, the primary voting, the regular day, March 3rd.
March 3rd.
Okay, I'm going to stop talking.
That's all right. Let me just continue.
Yes, please.
This other piece of, it's not really legislation, it was a House resolution to encourage law enforcement to suspend contact and outreach with the Council on American Islamic Relations. And basically that is known as CAIR, C-A-I-R. And I had 124 pages of documents from the FBI and from other federal agencies showing where CAIR in the United States is a fundraising arm of Hamas and Hezbollah. And what CAIR has been doing, they have been setting up regional offices around the United States. I believe there's one in Oklahoma, there's one in Tennessee, and so Arkansas is sandwiched between 2 states where this organization has set up their offices, field offices. But when we discovered, and when the federal government discovered that they were raising money to fund terrorist activities in the Middle East and around the world, they pulled a lot of their support. The federal government pulled a lot of support from CARE, and they really pushed back. I think every member in the House and Senate got an email from the main office out of D.C. I got phone calls trying to intimidate me, and some of the other House members did too. And but the House and Senate affirmed this resolution, and so one of the tactics that CARE does is they set up training events and workshops with local and state law enforcement, and it's really designed to desensitize our not our military, but our law enforcement officers to kind of distract from what CARE is really doing in specific communities. And so that resolution, after it ran in the House, it was passed, and then Senator Jason Rapert picked it up on the Senate side and ran it through committee, and then it went to the Senate floor and passed overwhelmingly too. Okay. So that resolution, even though it doesn't have teeth, it would just be a word of caution to like Sheriff Marty Boyd or Chief Rick Elliott you don't have to participate in these workshops if you choose not to. We encourage you not to.
We're going to put a pause right there. I want to say good morning to everyone that is listening and watching to this broadcast on our Facebook and live on air. We will be getting ready to take a break, and we'll be back after these announcements, but don't go anywhere. If you have any questions or comments for Representative Brandt Smith, please drop them in our Facebook live feed or call us at 870-277-1080. But again, we'll be right back after these announcements.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
Did you know that work-life balance is a myth? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. In today's busy world, it can often seem impossible to juggle the many demands of a family and a career. For decades, we've heard about how to achieve work-life balance. People experience so much guilt because they feel like they're neglecting their families while they're trying to have a successful career, or vice versa. So-called work-life balance is a myth. It's a utopia that people are searching for but will never find. Today, I want to encourage you to stop worrying about achieving balance between work and family life and instead strive to be present. For more, listen to my exclusive podcast interview with Tony Dungy at markmerrill.com. Remember, your family first.
Made possible by the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a non-profit organization committed to service to all mankind. Kappa Nu Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha on Facebook.
Brought to you by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, dedicated to the purpose of achievement. Jonesboro Alumni at gmail.com, Jonesboro AR Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity on Facebook, and Jonesboro_Kappas on Instagram.
Psst, it's me, your heart. High blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Just treat me better. After all, we're in this together.
For help getting your high blood pressure to a healthy range, text PRESSURE to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Looking for uncommon talent? Meet the Grads of Life. They're not the typical candidates you're used to, but they're exactly who your company needs. An ideal fit for entry-level positions, internships, and even mentorships. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn more. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
KLEK thanks CJ Pepper and the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated for helping people through hard times in life such as depression, family issues, stress, abuse, and more. They offer counseling and therapy for all ages, individuals, families, and groups. They are located at 1217 Stone Street. Phone number 1-866-972-1268 or online at lscihelp.com.
Tax refund firm DBA Cool Cuts Taxes offers a variety of preparation services, individual and business returns, processing tax refunds, refund anticipation loans, earned income credit for children, and more. Owner Bernard Cobbs has 20 years of experience preparing taxes and is available by appointment at 870-520-7470 and at 1411 Franklin Street, Suite 6, Jonesboro.
The McDaniel Law Firm, 400 South Main Street in Jonesboro, is a firm believer in justice and equality for the minority community. The McDaniel Law Firm has fought for our rights for over 44 years. The McDaniel Law Firm offers legal help for wrongful death as well as trucking and automobile accidents. Bobby and Brett McDaniel are available for a free consultation at 870-336-4747 or at www.mcdaniellawyers.com.
House of Details, located at 3915 East Highland in Jonesboro, is a proud supporter of KLEK, offering detailing on any type of vehicle, basic wash, hand wash, shampoo, interior cleaning, waxing, buffering, headlight restoration, pickup, delivery, and more with the motto of anything mean we can clean. Details at 870-273-5187. House of Details on Facebook and at klekfm.org.
Check out Melvin Williams of the Williams Brothers every Sunday morning from 5 to 7 a.m. here on KLEK for the Melvin Williams Down Home Gospel Radio Show, playing the very best in quartet and inspirational gospel music that you'll love, as well as feature interviews with all of your favorite gospel artists. It's Melvin Williams Down Home Gospel Radio Show, Sundays from 5 to 7 a.m. on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM with my special guest, Representative Brandt Smith from District 58. Well, Arkansas representative, I apologize. Arkansas representative. And so we're going to continue on with our discussion. We were talking a little bit about, in the first part, about some of the bills that you have sponsored. And you can find, again, more. Please tell people where they can find more of that information.
Well,
okay, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I do have a website. It should be up today. It's simply votebrantsmith.com. I have a Facebook page, Brandt Smith for District 58. If you just type in the search engine in Facebook and type my name, you should be able to find my political page. And so there's a lot of information even on my regular Facebook page, and sometimes it's just easier for me to post to my regular Facebook page, but we're trying to channel more political information to that proper site.
Okay. And so again, you can find out more information, the issues that Representative Brandt stands for, the things he's advocating for, and you can also have opportunity to meet him, and we'll talk about the fundraiser, but I want to make sure to continue to get in the issues here. And so let's talk about some other issues. You know, other candidates have come on that are running for District 53, and we have others for 59 come on as well. Some of the issues that have been on their social media pages, Second Amendment rights, red flag laws, and some things that are really hot topics that people either don't want to talk about or they want to talk a lot about. And so let's just go ahead and get into the Second Amendment right. What is actually being is there anything actually being discussed concerning the state of Arkansas?
Well, right now there is a group called Moms Demand Action that are really pushing for red flag laws. restricting Second Amendment gun rights. And my personal position on this issue is anytime you have a gun-free zone, you open yourself up, or those people that are in that environment, to mass shootings. We've seen that all across the United States. It was a gun-free zone, but some crafty, sadistic individual with murderous intent found their way into that environment and killed multiple people. So I think there's a big push right now. There was legislation last time to end gun-free zones in Arkansas, and I don't think that bill made it very far because there wasn't enough time to really address that issue fully. But it'll probably come back, that bill. And then with the issue of red flag laws, I can't support red flag laws because we've looked at this in depth in Little Rock among the caucus and members of the Republican caucus. There are so many unintended consequences for retribution or revenge. Maybe a husband and a wife have a dispute, and she makes a call or he makes a call and says, "Hey, they're going to go crazy. They're going to kill me. You need to. They're sick." And so weapons, or at least private handguns, could be confiscated even before there's any kind of investigation into the real reason for that. So I can't support that at this time or at all because of that type of unintended consequences.
So I just want to read really quickly, a general description of what it is for those who may not know. In the United States, the red flag law is a gun control law that permits police or family members to petition the state court to order the temporary removal of firearms from a person who may present a danger to others or themselves. A judge makes the determination to issue the order based on statements and actions made by the gun owner in question. Refusal to comply with the order is punishable as a criminal offense. After a set time, the guns are returned to the person from whom they were seized unless another court hearing extends the periods of confiscation. And other names for this: risk-based gun removal laws, extreme risk protection orders, risk protection orders, gun violence restraining orders, risk warrants, proceedings for the seizure and retention of a firearm. So different states call it or refer to it as something different besides just red flag. Okay. I know one statement that has been made in discussion is if this law was enacted in Arkansas, it could potentially push people that do suffer from mental illness or other disorders that may otherwise prohibit them from owning a gun. It would push them away from getting the help they need, thus causing potentially more problems.
Well, I believe it was Representative Marcus Richmond, who is our majority leader in the House presently. He presented a bill on the House floor, made it through committee, made it to House floor, on to the Senate. I think it was passed by the Senate and now is law. But his bill addressed those issues for military veterans or for active duty that may be suffering from post-traumatic stress. And so he said, and I know when I redeployed to the States and I had to check out through Fort Leavenworth, they set me in front of a computer screen, and one of the questions is, do you feel like you're suffering from PTSD? And some of my buddies said, if you check that, they're going to keep you for 2 more weeks.
Wow.
Or when if you are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, some employers on their applications, it will have that, have you ever been diagnosed with PTSD? And so there is that concern that some people may be marginalized if they seek help. But in Marcus's bill, basically it said if they're actively seeking psychiatric help or counseling, that they should not be penalized and have their weapons removed from their home. And so I lean more toward let's be cautious, but let's not infringe upon a person's Second Amendment rights.
Okay.
So,
and with the Second Amendment right, as it stands, some people may argue, okay, well, I mean, as it states, your right should not be infringed upon. It doesn't give any, unless I'm missing something as far as amendments to that. I mean, everyone has a right, like everyone. So then what can be done, since we don't have the red flag law in Arkansas, and we have heard of several incidences happening? What other protection measures can be put in place?
Well, a lot of times, I mean, we have current laws in place. We have different courts that are set up. I was speaking with the prosecuting attorney, Scott Ellington, about some of this, and some of the judicial candidates that are talking about courts that are set up, veterans courts, drug courts. We've got the new housing unit out near Craighead County Sheriff's, detention center for the mentally ill. And so there are things already in place that are working, but we want to make sure that family members, first of all, that their complaint or their concern is legitimate.
Okay.
And secondly, that law enforcement can detect, is this person a risk to themselves or others, or are they on the receiving end of maybe retribution or revenge? And so there's a lot of training, according to Chief Elliott, about how we observe potential risk problems in the community.
Okay.
And I think they're doing a good job, but we've just got to do more.
Okay. Alrighty. And so what's another issue that you would like to express to the listeners and viewers that you either support or oppose? Or I don't want to get into anything, and then we could talk about what's possibly new. What new legislation has been presented for the state of Arkansas?
Well, right now, as I mentioned during the break, we are in an interim period.
Okay.
And so there aren't a lot of bills being presented as ISPs or interim study proposals, but a few are starting to come through. And those, the range of topics is pretty broad.
Okay.
Everything from taxes,
nobody wants to talk about.
Well, one of the big issues is the assessment on poultry farmers for their poultry houses. And, it should be no carve-outs, but there are people that are saying, hey, the poultry farmers have had a special carve-out to give them a reduced assessment of their poultry buildings. And right now I think they're paying $4.50 a square foot. But unless some things change fairly quickly, they could see that jump 10% a year or up to double what they're paying, which the poultry farmers claim it could put them out of business. So those are issues. Everything from the watershed over on the National Buffalo River, area, the park, everything in that area to agriculture. We even see resolutions being passed for.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, that's all right. We see resolutions being presented in support of President Trump. We see issues that have to do with potential highway funding, even though the governor's highway bill did pass. What are we going to do about the half-cent tax that will be up for renewal or for a vote by the people
in 2023?
Yes, and so there's never a dull day in the House of Representatives.
I can imagine. there's some things people want, some things they don't. Do you feel that some people need to take a little more time and actually read or is there a site where the bills are maybe broken down into more layman's terms and not 100 pages long? Because I personally don't want to read 100 pages worth of a bill.
And see, I don't know of a website where there's a synopsis, or a quick read of a bill that may be lengthy. But that's why, as I mentioned earlier in the program, I meet with a team every evening. On Mondays, because we weren't there on Sunday night, we would meet Monday morning around 10 and go to about 12. So we review those bills. And so I think in my 3 years in the House, I've probably cast roughly 6,000 votes.
Okay.
That doesn't include the votes I favored in committee or opposed in committee. But we meet, maybe 3 or 4 people are assigned, well, you read these bills, I'll read these, let's get together and talk about it. And then we make our recommendations to the full Republican caucus. Vote your district, vote your conscience, pass this bill, or this bill should not have made it to the House floor.
Okay. All right. So again, but there is a website. It's see if I can find it. I know it's ArcLeg, Arkansas Legislator, or legislation. Please help me with that.
It's just ArcLeg. If they type in ArcLeg, the rest of it should pop up, and they can save it to their bookmarks and find it. But there's another app out there called Lobby Up, and I don't know if it's free or if it's a pay for subscription, but they can actually track bills on Lobby Up. So if they go to the Apple Store and type in Lobby Up, they could actually get to specific bills quicker. And I use it all the time to track my colleagues. It's got everybody's phone number, the district they serve, a little bit of their bio, their address, email, and then it goes into what committees they presently serve on and how long they've been in the House.
I would definitely have to check that out.
Yeah.
It's a free to download, but it says in-app purchases. So if you want to unlock more features than just some of the basic ones, you could decide how you want to do that.
I don't know what the fee is, but it may be worth it if you've got some real active listeners that want to know up to the minute
what's happening. Okay. All right. And so also within your candidacy for re-election, what are some other issues that you are standing on, sponsoring?
Okay. Well,
just want the listeners and viewers to know about.
Sure. I have presented a bill a couple of sessions that hasn't made it out of committee, but I want to try again with some amendments and some tweaking and changes. And as a sponsor, I can do that. As a matter of fact, colleagues can make amendments on another legislator's bill. However, that's typically frowned on. They're known as hostile amendments. But we want to present a bill on the healthcare workers' rights of conscience.
Okay.
And basically, let's say because technology is changing, surgical procedures are improving, some medical personnel, they're growing in their skills, they're adding more procedures to their clinics or their surgery centers. Let's say you have a staff person, a nurse or a surgical tech, and they really have a conviction, a deep held, perhaps even religious conviction that they simply cannot do gender reassignment type surgeries or those types of surgeries, or maybe even abortion. Maybe a physician says, hey, laws are tightening up, we need to add this service to our community. Well, most of those are scheduled in advance. You don't usually walk in like an emergency room visit and say, I want this procedure. So it's on the calendar. So part of that bill says with reasonable accommodation, that medical personnel can request, let me step out on that one procedure, that one surgery, and because of my personal conviction, and then after it's completed, someone else, someone else can jump in and fill my spot. I'll come back and step in and finish out the day. But there's been, I think we've amended that bill 12 or 15 times to help make it less concerning to the medical community, because mostly it's the medical lobbyists, the physicians that don't want it. But a lot of your nurse practitioners, your medical staff, they have no protection.
Okay.
They could lose their job if they say,
we don't want to
I can't do that.
And I'm looking on this website, hhs.gov, under conscious and religious freedom, and it's going in a little more detail about this particular topic. And it lists, you may file a complaint under the federal. So I see now it's a federal issue. And so people have, I guess doctors, physicians have their rights protected at the federal level. So now each state is trying to make it more accessible for those that are not physicians.
Right. And see, so we want that playing field to be level for everyone involved. And I think it's a good bill. It's probably a better bill today than it was when we first introduced it. Okay. Family Council asked me to carry that, and we have worked diligently with the state surgeon, Greg Bledsoe, Dr. Bledsoe. We've worked with the governor and his staff, and I thought we had everything organized perfectly for this last session, but it still had some issues that we're still working on.
All right, so as we get ready to go into break, we have like a minute and a half, a little less than a minute. Just tell people a little bit about the process. Some people think, okay, a bill is submitted, voted yes, no, then tell people, and we'll get more into that in the last segment.
All right, and you want me to start now?
Well,
are we going to go to break?
We better wait.
Okay.
We're going to get ready to go to break. So real quick though, tell them about the fundraiser that's coming up.
Okay. February 1st, at the home of Chad and Pam Neal, 4200 Friendly Hope Road, between 11 a.m. and 1. We have special guest Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin coming as our keynote speaker. Q49 will be catering the barbecue. This is being sponsored by Patriots of Act 746, and we're expecting a big crowd.
All right.
So everyone's invited, but there is a ticket request or requirement.
And you have to go to his Facebook page to find out that information. Again, it is Brandt Smith. Brandt Smith for Arkansas State Representative, District 58. So go check that out. Look at the ticket prices and look at all the information there, and make your choice if you would like to go and attend and meet Mr. Representative Brandt Smith. With that, we'll be right back after these announcements.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. Divorce is a difficult transition that many people go through. While the dissolution of a marriage is hard for both men and women, research shows that women fare far worse financially. Black Enterprise Senior Personal Finance Editor Stacy Tisdale reveals key pitfalls that women need to watch out for in divorce. They include failing to understand your financial picture. Some women get into the habit of letting their spouses handle the family finances, or of compartmentalizing the family finances so that while you may be expert in one area, you are out of the loop in others, such as the family business. You can't arrive at a fair settlement if you don't have a clear and comprehensive picture of your financial situation. Also, clinging to the family home. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. for Money Matters, a product of American Urban Radio Networks.
Made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, focused on joy in our sisterhood, power in our voice, and service in our hearts. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Money Matters is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a nonprofit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
Money Matters is brought to you by Bancorp South, offering checking, savings, loans, credit cards, and wealth management. www.bancorpsouth.com or 870-972-9800.
Hi, this is Josh Groban. My favorite thing about music is its ability to inspire and nourish the soul. That's why I'm proud to work with Feeding America, an organization that inspires hope for families in need and helps nourish the 16 million kids in this country struggling with hunger. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and helps get it to kids in need. But they can't do it alone. Find out how you can help at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Join parents and experts at Understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues designed to help you help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
Calling all women and minority business owners as well as the general public. KLEK 102.5 FM presents the Women and Minority Business Showcase at Centennial Hall in the Arkansas State University Student Union. Live broadcast on KLEK and on Facebook. This is your opportunity to show what your business, church, or organization has to offer to the unique, diverse audience of KLEK listeners, supporters, and the Jonesboro community as a whole, or to just check out all the vendors in attendance. Register at klekfm.org. Free admission to attend. The KLEK Women and Minority Business Showcase is sponsored by the Arkansas State University Office of Diversity and Community Engagement. This event is a KLEK fundraiser.
The KLEK 2020 Women and Minority Business Showcase, Saturday, February 22nd, from 10 o'clock a.m. until 4 o'clock p.m. Registration and other information is on our website, www.klekfm.org.
KLEK thanks Charles and Candace Mabry and the staff of Mabry Smokehouse for their support of KLEK and dedication to the Jonesboro community. Mabry's offers Texas-style barbecue, beef brisket, pulled pork, ribs, rib tips, chicken wings, smoked sausage, barbecue fries and nachos, sides, and desserts. Located 1504 Red Wolf Boulevard, Jonesboro. Open 11 to 8 Tuesday through Thursday, Friday and Saturday. More info, Mabry Smokehouse on Facebook.
KLEK 102.5 FM salutes small businesses. Small businesses promote local character and success, keeping money in the local economy, local jobs, entrepreneurship, community well-being, and so much more. Contact us today to learn more on how your small business could be featured on KLEK for as little as $25 per month.
Chris, you're not acting like a grown-up in our relationship.
Am too.
There's your comic book collection, the race car bed.
I'm young at heart, but I put money into my 401k every paycheck. I'm taking control over my financial life, and that feels pretty grown up to me.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. Are those footy pajamas?
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM with my special guest, Representative Brandt Smith from District 58. Okay, Arkansas I keep getting the Arkansas part, but I hope people know that by now.
Locally around my house, I'm just called Pawpaw.
Okay. I want to thank you so much for joining us today and sharing the information that you have given us. Again, go to arcleg.ar.us.
Well, I don't know, but it'll pop up.
And so you can find more information about the different House bills, whatever's been passed, that's in session, that's proposed. You can find all of that information. You can also look up information by representative, by legislator, by, there's a variety of search options.
And they can go to the Secretary of State's website.
Okay.
And find they can track legislators' campaign contributions and expenditures reports.
Oh.
They can track their statement of financial interest, things that the Ethics Commission requires that we do. At one point, it's quarterly, but
Okay.
now it's down to monthly reporting. And so if they really want to follow up, those are some good websites to go to.
Okay, and I use the Arkansas Secretary of Arkansas's page when I'm looking up the candidate information.
Right.
You can find their address, phone number, email. There's a wealth of information. So get to know all of the candidates who are running for whatever position, whether it's the judge's position. We have over 12 positions up. So for the judicial district, God, I don't know. Okay. Get to know all the judges that are running, people that are running for the judge position, I'm sorry. Get to know everyone who's running for state representative and any other local position. We know that the national election matters. However, as McKenzie always says, the effects of your local people, from the decisions of your local people, are felt more immediate.
Well, all politics are local. At some point, they're local.
So get to know who's running on the local level, county, city, state, and then, of course, on the national level. Okay, without further ado, we're going to get into the question or statement I posed before. Let people know how the process works in the shorter term as you can.
Yeah, it's really involved, but the short answer simply is a legislator maybe sees something that generates a desire to have a bill put together.
Okay.
Or maybe someone sends a legislator a piece of model legislation from another state and says, we need this in Arkansas.
Okay.
So when that happens to me, I'll take that bill and I'll review it. And if it's something that is part of my passion, because you have to believe in what you're trying to present or it doesn't happen. It goes to BLR, they present it to you, you file it, and then take it to committee.
Okay. And so can an average citizen submit something to their representative saying?
They sure can. They can present their ideas. Maybe they pulled up a piece of model legislation and they would say, Representative Smith, does this look like something we should have in Arkansas?
Okay.
And that happens too, Quabilla.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. We do want to state again that KLEK and the Voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council does not support, endorse, or oppose any of the candidate. This interview was given for informational purposes only. In our last minute, any final words, any shout outs, thank yous?
Well, it was fun. And, please go out and vote. I would like to have your vote for another term in the legislature. I pray every day for wisdom and understanding. I may disagree with some of the comments that are sent to me, but I do pay attention. If you call me, leave a message on my phone and I will get back to you. I get so many that I don't know the number, so I let it go to voicemail, but I try at least in the evening to get back with people.
All right. So there you have it. Please reach out to Representative Smith with any questions or comments concerning Arkansas and maybe specifically District 58. Would you be able to go out and maybe do some door knocking or town halls or just kind of meet and greets outside of the fundraiser?
We're already doing that. I'll be with Americans for Prosperity at the bank up on Hilltop next week. Yeah, next week. Tonight I'll be sitting in on a Eagle Scout ceremony presenting 2 citations. Okay. So people everywhere, they find me. I go to Walmart frequently, and it's hard for me to get down some aisles because people want to know what's going on, or they just want to pull me aside and talk. But I'm accessible, and always have been and always want to be.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. And thank you everyone out there for listening, watching, and supporting KLEK. We are your community radio station, your life, your music. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for tomorrow morning, Community Conversations at 9 a.m. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of